Prepsters, this is Ola with Pandemic Prepsters bringing you storing wheat. Today I'm going to be showing you how to store wheat in a gallon Mylar bag as well as adding oxygen absorbers. Now I had a 50-pound bag of wheat here and I did place some in a 5-gallon bucket, so today we'll also be adding an oxygen absorber to that. Well, we have lots to do, so let's get packing. We are now ready to add our oxygen absorbers. Now what I did here was I sealed all of my bags 50% of the way. As you can see, one fell over at one point, but nothing spilled out, which was nice. So now I can add an oxygen absorber to each one. Now if you do have somebody helping you, it really does make the process a little bit easier, but I can do this one person. So I add an oxygen absorber to each bag. My extra oxygen absorbers, I like to place in a mason jar that I have some rice in. That way it takes up airspace. I just add them in there. And we'll leave these out. Let's clean up a little bit. And I am gonna get my heat element, which I'm using the Pack Fresh USA mini sealer, which works amazing. Now these are 5 ml bags and they're having no issue whatsoever with sealing this bag. So let's go ahead and finish sealing it. Once I seal it, I have a tendency to go across the top. Now I really didn't burp that bag that much. You can burp it or remove the extra air. So just kind of go to the food, kind of bend it over. Now I could have filled these a little bit more, but I don't like to put too much. I put roughly 8 cups into each bag. One of the other tricks that I will do is when I'm done, I will lay all of these out flat and allow that oxygen absorber to do its job. Now, I always tell people to take out the number of oxygen absorbers you can use roughly in 10 minutes. By doing this trick where you're sealing the bag part way and then you add your absorber, guess what? Your oxygen absorber is not even going to be out 10 minutes. If I wasn't talking so much, I would already be done. So literally they're only out for a few minutes. And then once everything is sealed, I go back and double check my seals. But these little mini sealers or your hair straightener works amazing to get these Mylar bags sealed up. It by far is my favorite way. And I own an impulse sealer and I still use this mini sealer as my heat element because I don't have to go out to my workstation to use it, and I can do it right here as I'm packing up. Now again, I will go through and double check all these seals and we'll be right back with you in just a few minutes. Well, as you can see, I have bagged up 6 bags of wheat here, roughly again 8 cups each. And we're gonna leave these sit overnight. Now, do you notice how there's air in here? I didn't really burp these that well. And guess what? That is all right, because oxygen is only 21% of the air we breathe, where nitrogen is 78% of the air we breathe. So when the oxygen gets removed, you will notice some shrinkage. And then we'll also notice it can be a little loose. That's because there's still nitrogen, because I really didn't try to evacuate all that extra air that I could. Now, it is okay to do that, and it's okay to leave the extra nitrogen in here. Matter of fact, I read a study from the University of Utah that was written, I believe, in 2011, where it said leaving the nitrogen is perfectly good. It's the idea to remove the oxygen, because the oxygen is the destructive factor here. Just as much as sunlight or heat or, bugs, all of those things are destructive to your food. So Mylar cuts out the sunlight. It protects your food because it's hermetically sealed. That means it's sealed all the way around. So once that oxygen absorber does its job, the environment on the inside, it's zero oxygen or oxygen free. So no weevil or bug can continue to live in an oxygen free zone. I can't breathe, you can't breathe, that weevil can't breathe. So you don't need to bother to store these things in the freezer before you go to store them. In fact, that's a bad idea, because then you're adding moisture to the mix. So all I did was take my stuff from the big bag, the 50-pound bag of wheat, and I stored them in smaller containers to make it more usable and easier for me, because I don't know about you, but 50 pounds is a lot of wheat to carry at one time. I'd rather make it in more manageable containers and easier for me, so I can go into my bin and pull out one bag at a time. I'm not having to lug a big 5-gallon bucket, but I do store things in 5-gallon buckets as well. But for me, this is way easier. From the Pandemic Prepsters, we'll come back tomorrow morning once the oxygen absorber has done its job, and we'll take a look and see how it looks. All right, good night and thank you. Hi Prepsters, it's been about 24 hours since I packed up this wheat, and I want to tell you, they turned out amazing. Here we have the one that I burped really well, and it is really tight and firm. I could see the wheat and it looks amazing. Now this next one I didn't burp as much, and you can see, I could see it shrunk down quite a bit. I could see a little bit of the texture, but there's still a lot of movement in this bag, and that's okay. It's removed the oxygen. I could tell it shrunk down, so the oxygen absorber did its job, and this I could safely store for 30 plus years. Now this next one was very similar to that, and it's looking really good. It is tight and firmer. And then these last two here, I left a lot of air in there. And the oxygen absorbers have removed the oxygen because they have shrunk down some, but there's a lot more movement within this bag. So that's perfectly okay. Nitrogen is perfectly okay to keep with your food. So it allows the movement of food so it doesn't get crushed. So that's good. And remember how I told you I suggest laying these flat? And this is the very reason why. Now, just leaving this up here like this thing I can turn on its side, but trying to flatten it out, that's exercise. So let me tell you, it's better to lay them flat while they absorb the oxygen. That way when I go to store these in my bins, and make sure you store them in bins or buckets, that to keep them from the rodent proof, so to speak. Make sure you store them that way to keep them safe, and you could safely store this wheat for 30 plus years. And I have another thing I want to show you, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, so here I have a 5-gallon bag and a 5-gallon bucket that is not food grade, and that's okay because my food is inside the Mylar bag. So what I need to do is, I sealed this up earlier. I forgot to add the oxygen absorber, silly me, but guess what? Just open it a little bit, and I have my 2000 cc oxygen absorber. That's what I need for wheat. I'm gonna add one. And then I'm going to seal it up. The trick here is you want to burp this. So get as much air out of this one as you can. And I have my Pack Fresh USA mini sealer here, and it's doing the job very nicely to getting this bag sealed back up. All right, and just like that, I've added my absorber to my bag, and now I can push that down, add my lid, and I can store this for 25 plus years. This is about 30 pounds of wheat. Well, from the Pandemic Prepsters to you and your family, make sure you're preserving and saving some stuff for your family in their time of need. And I want to say, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, and don't forget to like and to share our page. We're trying to spread the word on the importance of long-term food storage. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.